Hi everyone, welcome. I hope you all had a great weekend. If you wouldn't mind just dropping in the chat to make sure my audio is okay before I get started and deliver this. I want to make sure that my audio is actually working. If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself in the chat, let me know where you're based and what you do. I can see we've already got people from all over the world. We've got Alan from, as always, from Coventry in the UK, Tomic from New York, Chris from Wolfville, um, Nova Scotia, um, Lara from Vermont. Yeah, people from all over the world. So just drop in the chat. I always like to see where people are from. We're going to wait a couple of minutes and we'll get started. Just a little bit of housekeeping. So on the right-hand side, for those of you that aren't familiar with Crowdcast, you'll see we've got the chat icon. From there, that's where you can introduce yourself. It's where you can speak to other people as well that are attending this. Just below that as well, you'll see the Q&A tab. Now, the Q&A tab is going to be really important because at the end, we'll have a live Q&A. Please don't ask any questions in the chat. It makes it a lot easier for me. There's like over 200 people that have registered. It'll make it a lot easier for me if you've got any questions to add it in there, and then I can make sure I get to it as well. And then we also have a poll. So just beneath that, there's a poll with two questions that I'd like you to answer. One is, are you currently using AI? And then, are you currently using AI in your SEO efforts? So, introduce yourself in the chat. If you've got any questions, ask away in the Q&A. And then also head over to the poll just beneath that, where you'll be able to answer those two questions. And we will get straight into it. Perfect. And if someone could just drop a message in the chat, if you can see my screen as well, just to make sure we're ready to go. Perfect. Thank you, Lee. Right, guys. So thanks for everyone for joining. I'm really excited about today's webinar. It's sort of AI is, the hot topic at the moment, and I'm ready to answer a lot of your questions. We're mainly going to be talking about AI and SEO, when and how to use it for your SEO efforts, but we're also going to be covering some other topics, as well as I mentioned, we've got the live Q&A. First of all, who am I? Why should you spend the next hour listening to me? Well, I'm the founder of SEO Space. I made the SEO plugin for Squarespace. I then also run an SEO agency that has worked with some of the biggest brands in different industries, such as Housed, the largest Airbnb management company in the world. But most of you will know me through SEO Space. Obviously, we have our SEO Space plugin, the Squarespace, the SEO plugin for Squarespace. We also have our Squarespace SEO course, the SEO Space Academy, and we also have Squarespace SEO services. And in fact, our plugin is now used by over 10,000, very, very close to 20,000 Squarespace users in over 60 countries. So I'd say outside of people that work at Squarespace, I probably have the best insight into Squarespace SEO and how to rank a Squarespace website higher up on Google. I've interviewed Squarespace's CEO about SEO. I've delivered official SEO webinars for Squarespace, and I regularly contribute to the squarespace.com blog. And coincidentally, I actually had an article go live today on the squarespace.com blog about AI and SEO. So, all I do is Squarespace SEO. So, hopefully all of you can learn something today about SEO and especially about AI. So in terms of what we're going to be going through, I'll just clarify two key topics that you need to understand the difference between. Then I'll go through how AI is changing search, the killer mistake for businesses that I want to make sure you guys do not fall into after this webinar, how AI can help your SEO efforts, Google stance, is SEO dead? I saw someone already asked that on the chat. Then 5 recommendations where you can use AI to improve your SEO efforts, and then a live Q&A. As I've already mentioned, there's a Q&A panel on the right-hand side. please, if you've got any questions, add them there. You'll also be able to upvote or downvote any, no, not downvote, just upvote questions from there. And then we also have the poll tab. I asked you, are you currently using AI? 61% said yes, 30% sometimes, 8% said rarely. And it looks like a lot of people are also using AI in their SEO efforts. A couple of people said rarely or I don't know how. So it feels like most of you are using AI, which is fantastic. A lot of you are using it in your SEO efforts today. So hopefully by the end of this, you're going to learn how to use it effectively to ultimately begin attracting more of your target customers. So, before we begin, the two main topics that I want you to be aware of now, when we say AI and SEO, there's two key areas. First is how AI is impacting search engines. So, how it's impacting Google, how it's impacting the way that we search and the results that we see. And then the second area is how AI can be used to help your SEO efforts. So those are the two main topics, and we're going to be covering both of those in this. Now, first of all, we're going to be covering how AI is changing search. And don't worry, I am going to be giving you examples. Now, AI really began to be impacting search. It started with SGE, which is Google's Search Generative Experience, which is now called AI Overviews. It was essentially an AI summary at the top of Google search engines. It's now rolled out to about 50% of Google's search results. So it doesn't always show and it depends upon your geography. But this is really how it started. And it was just an AI summary that linked to a couple of websites. Sometimes it would show videos. And that's really how it started. And that's how it began to change search, because rather than clicking on a website, you would see the answer that you were looking for at the top. You had the option to click on a website, but you didn't really have to. And that's really how things started changing. It's now moved to LLMs. LLMs are large language models such as ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. These are all chat experiences that are slowly replacing traditional Google search. Now, here are some statistics that I just want to emphasize how much these are really shaking things up. First of all, ChatGPT is now the 11th most visited site in the world. AI overviews are now appearing in 50% of Google search results, as I've already said. So people are no longer having to click on the blue links. They can see the answer they want at the top. And I couldn't find the stat for this, the source. So I don't know if this is true. However, I don't imagine it's too far off. But I heard from someone recently that ChatGPT now has 20% of the search usage as Google. Now, again, I don't know if that is true, but it sort of shows a trend that people, instead of Googling information as much, they're turning to these alternatives, these chat alternatives, where instead of clicking on all the links, they can get the answer right there. And then they've got the choice to go to a website if they really need to. Now, that does not mean that Google is going away. SEO is still going to be a critical SEO marketing strategy for many, many businesses. It just means that SEO is going to change and there's going to be more ways than ever to get your business found. We're going to be going through many of those in this webinar, but SEO is not dead. I'll be touching upon that later. It's just evolving as it always has, as many different platforms do always evolve. SEO is, and I'll be touching upon how you can take advantage on that later. Now, I really wanted to do a little bit of a live demo. So I'm just going to stop sharing screen. And I'm going to do a little bit of a live demo so you guys can see really what I mean. So we've got Google, we've got ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. ChatGPT is the tool that I use the most. Gemini is one that I'm trialing out a lot at the moment, and Perplexity is also really popular. And I'm just going to put in best running shoes. I've got a marathon coming up, so we're going to put in best running shoes for marathon, and we're going to put it in the different tools to sort of show you guys what I mean for those of you that haven't seen what's happening. So I'll go through the different results. So first of all, we've got Google. The first thing that we see is we're hitting the face with ads. Then we scroll down, we've got Runner's World, Runner's World. Obviously, what shows up depends on where you're searching. But as you can see, we haven't really got, apart from the ads, in order to see what the best running shoes are, we're going to have to click on this and have to scroll down, and then we're starting to see a little bit more. So yeah, that's what we've got right now. We look at ChatGPT. Now, again, we haven't had to click in on anything. We've just got here are the best running shoes. There's no links, interestingly. There's no way to like go in. I'm still going to have to potentially, copy this, go to Google in order to see what these are. There's no photos, which isn't ideal. We then go to Gemini. And as you can see here, we've got pretty similar to ChatGPT, but we've got images and we've got the ability to go to Nike in order to buy these directly. So you can see how these AI tools are changing the experience. I mean, if we're all honest, what is a better experience? Being hit with ads, having to go to a website, or what Gemini, and Gemini it's Google's ChatGPT, it's Google's LLM. For me, this is a better experience because I can see a little bit about them. I don't have to click off. And if I want to learn more, I can then go through. I can click through to the website. So this is really how things are changing. And believe it or not, this is still SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. A lot of people are calling it AEO, answer engine optimization, to show up in these answers. You still need to do optimization in order to show up in these results. So, it doesn't mean SEO is dead. People are still searching things in. They're still getting answers. They're still going through to websites, and they're still buying, inquiring about services, etc. And then finally, we've got Perplexity, which you can see we've got a video here, 5 best race shoes for 4-hour marathoners. So yeah, I mean, I actually really like this from Perplexity. This is cool. It's also got related. So here's how you're seeing how it's evolving. It's still linking websites. The experience is just overall different. So hopefully that example has actually given you like some real world examples of how SEO is changing, how it's evolving, and hopefully that's going to sort of help as we move on. As I mentioned, if you've got any questions, head over to the Q&A tab. I'm more than happy. I appreciate that there's some topics that I might jump through pretty quickly, so we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So with all that being said, this is a killer mistake for businesses that I've actually seen twice in the past week. I've had 2 clients, not in the past week, in the past month, who have hid their website from AI crawlers. And I want to make sure that you don't do this. Squarespace actually has a settings, if you go to website, and then crawlers, where you can actually block known AI crawlers from accessing your website. And I want no one watching this webinar to do that. And the reason why I don't want you to do this is it just limits your ability to get found. If you type in your target keyword, if you type in what you want to be found for on Google, on ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, you're going to see that businesses, maybe even your competitors, are getting found. And because this is a way that I believe people are going to be searching in the future, they're going to be using these tools. If you block AI crawlers from accessing your website, you're reducing your visibility. You're literally making it easier for your competitors. So please don't make that killer mistake. I've seen 2 businesses do it already this month, and I don't want that to be you either. Now, a common objection that I hear when I say that is, I don't want AI training on or using my content. And the reality is, I'm sorry to break it to you, but AI knows more than me, knows more than you, it knows more than anyone that's on this webinar, and it already knows more than anyone in the world. So you hiding your website from AI isn't going to stop what's happening. It's only limiting your business and limiting your visibility. So don't fight it. Use these waves to your advantage, because I'm a massive believer that every big technology shift, every new evolution brings new opportunity. And the reason that I do these webinars is to help you guys ultimately make the most of them, learn what's coming, and get your business found. So how AI can help. Now, I want you guys to treat AI as your new personal assistant. Can be your personal assistant that can help you with so many different tasks. It can also be your tutor that can teach you about anything. And I really believe that with AI, you have the ability to be above average at everything. Because if you don't understand something, you can ask ChatGPT, you can ask any of the other tools. They're even starting to be able to complete tasks for you. So I really believe that everyone has the ability to be above average at everything, which is going to make you a lot more productive. Now, I am going to be touching upon 5 ways that anyone can be using AI for SEO later in this webinar, but I really recommend that you always try and go to these AI tools first to see if how you currently do things can be improved by AI. I also believe in the next 10 years, we're going to see the world's first like 1 to 3 person billion-dollar company because AI really is allowing people to become more productive than ever while reducing costs. People used to say that you can't have cheaper, faster, better. With AI, cheaper, faster, and better really is possible. And as I said, we'll be touching upon ways that you can do that later on. Now, to draw an example to that, this is Meta, i.e., Facebook's revenue per employee. So, this white line here is the number of employees that they have. And this blue bar is the revenue per employee. And you'll see they laid off a lot of people sort of 2022, 2023. But you'll see that their revenue per employee is at all-time highs. And a big reason that you're seeing some of the biggest companies in the world hit record revenue levels and record efficiency because they're using these AI tools in order to be more efficient than ever, which is meaning each employee is able to generate more revenue and more productivity than ever. Um, Now, of course, before we get to that, and you're also seeing AI being introduced into tools as well. So you're not even seeing like big companies like Facebook use AI in order to become more productive, but you're also seeing Squarespace, Gmail, Mailchimp. They're all introducing AI into their functionality, which means you can use it to your advantage to become more productive than ever. Now, of course, you're not Facebook. However, you can treat your business as the same. Even if your business has a headcount as one, there's no reason that you can't be using these tools in order to boost your revenue per team member. You know, I think everyone that's watching this can be 30 to 50% more effective with these tools. And if if you don't use these tools, your competitors will be, and your competitors are only going to be more effective at getting ahead of you. Now, common ways that I see people using AI in their business is to write blog content. I'm sure you're probably all thinking it, and maybe you're already doing it already. You know, writing blogs, copy for the website, writing sales copy for emails, social media posts, writing emails. I don't know about you guys, but I often find asking ChatGPT to write an email without sounding rude. Like if I like, I don't know, if I ever have an email, I don't know how to reply, or I'll give AI the thread and I'll say, how do I reply to this without being rude? I hope that isn't just me, but I have to do that quite a lot, especially when you've got a tricky customer and stuff. I'll ask it questions to help in my decision making. So let's say I want to plan a certain area of my business, or say to ChatGPT, hi, I'm looking to work through this area of my business. Please ask me 5 questions in order to help me work through this problem. Speeding up keyword research, generating images, summarizing long form content. Whenever I get sent a contract, for example, I will put the contract through ChatGPT, ask it to summarize, and I've even got it to write code for me before. So, yeah, even if you're a complete beginner, you can write code. So these are all the ways that people are using it in their business. Obviously, we're going to be focusing just on SEO in this webinar, but hopefully that's given you some ideas in order to use AI, or maybe you're already doing that already and I'm preaching to the converted. But now we're going to be getting into the SEO section of the webinar. So how you can use AI for SEO. And I think as we're doing that, we also need to address Google's stance. What does Google and what do these AI tools like Gemini, Perplexity, ChatGPT, what is their stance on AI content? Can you be using AI for SEO? And because you may be thinking, but Henry, is AI safe for SEO? Does AI content rank? And because maybe you've heard it doesn't. And this is Google's official stance. This is taken from Google's website. And ultimately, this is a really good principle that you guys should take whenever you're doing SEO. When you're doing SEO, you should always focus on creating the best possible experience for your target customers and people that you want to visit your website. Google says here that Google's ranking systems aim to reward original, high quality content that demonstrates qualities of what we call EAT. EAT stands for expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So basically, what Google is saying here is it focuses on the quality of content rather than how the content is produced. It wants to see that you are an expert, you have experience, you have authority, and that you're trustworthy in the topic or the thing that you want to rank in. So, for example, everything that we do on SEO Space's website, whether we generate content with AI or not, it's all geared at providing the most amount of value to you guys and showing that we're the expert in Squarespace SEO. Google does not care how we produce that content as long as it provides value and it shows these things. It shows EAT. And actually, a really good thing that I think it says on this page is you can see here that basically, when it comes to automatically, AI generated content, it's been consistent. Their guidance has been consistent for years using automation. With so sorry. So basically, Google's stance is if you use AI and these automation tools in order to purposely manipulate search engine rankings, then that is a violation. However, as long as you use these tools in order to produce quality content, it's completely fine. And it actually says that, using AI and using automation tools, it's actually been used for a very long time in order to generate helpful content. It says sports scores, weather forecasts, transcript. AI has the ability to power new levels of expression and creativity. So Google does not penalize AI content. In fact, as long as you use AI in order to produce high quality content that allows, let's be honest, Google to make more money by ranking your web page higher, people stay on your content longer, people come back to Google's going to rank your content. Google is a business at the end of the day, and it just wants to try and rank the highest quality content. It doesn't matter how it is produced. And this is taken from Google's official website. So yeah. So yeah, AI content can rank very well. However, as with any SEO effort, you need to bring something better than what competitors do. Provide extremely valuable content. It has to be at least as good as what already ranks. You have to show that you're the expert within a given topic. Remember EAT that we mentioned before. You need to show that you've got experience, show that you're the expert, show that you're an authority within the space, and show that you can be trusted. You need to bring your own experience into your website. So you need to show that you've actually got experience doing the thing that you say, you want to rank for. Go above and beyond, just as you would in any area of your business. You should always go above and beyond, because if you don't go above and beyond, if you put in an average amount of effort, expect an average amount of results, which is nothing, to be honest. And remember that the quality in is the quality out. If you're using these AI tools, if you're just putting in like below like an average quality prompt, an average quality input, you're going to get the same out. The quality of what you put into these AI tools is what you get out. So I always want you to go above and beyond with whatever you're using. AI is just a tool. If you use it quickly to produce something below average, it's not going to work. You still need a strategy, and you need to go above and beyond in order to maximize your results. So the big question that maybe some of you are thinking, obviously you've already heard my stance a little bit, but is SEO dead? With all these new tools that are being released, is it even worth using AI for SEO? Because isn't SEO dead anyway? Yeah, you may be thinking, isn't it dead? SEO doesn't work anymore. Maybe you've heard people say this. Maybe you've heard people say that SEO is dead and you're better off doing other things. Now, Google still drives 63.4% of all US web traffic, with 22 billion searches occurring every day. Now, personally, that doesn't sound dead to me. And even though, Google search, that the Google's market share is decreasing, don't expect in the next probably even 10 to 20 years that Google's dominance isn't going to be is going to like go below 50%. I still think that they're going to be the dominant market force. Sure, how people search and the results that show is going to be different, but Google is still going to be the dominant player. And if you want your business to get found, you're going to need to do SEO in order to get found in these new experiences. So it is definitely not dead. The data says so itself. 22 billion searches occurring every day. Just put that into perspective. That is so much demand. That is so much people looking for products and services. Even when AI comes around, people are still going to be looking for what you sell. And if you don't get found, your competitors are going to be. So yeah, sure, SEO is definitely changing. I personally believe that you can't just focus on Google, but people are always going to be searching for information, businesses, and services. So SEO is definitely not dead. To give you an example for my own business, this is our Google Search Console data for SEO space, and you can see we're getting more people than ever from Google. And this is my personal YouTube channel, and this is my business YouTube channel. Um, yeah, YouTube is I believe, the world's second largest search engine. You can see that I'm getting more traffic and more business than ever from Google. So, SEO space is a real example of SEO definitely not being dead. So I can speak firsthand that, maybe there's some people that have had bad experiences, but I know that it works. I'm doing it every day, and I'm also helping clients every day that are reaping the rewards. I even typed this in, who is the best Squarespace SEO agency, into Gemini, and you can see SEO space came top. So yeah, we're reaping the rewards from Google, and we're also doing what we can in order to get shown in these new experiences, because I believe that this is how things are going. I've also seen this with SEO Space Academy students. Cara, for example, she worked on a client and she literally got them ranking within 7 days. And I believe they got a client within those 7 days as well. So, if you're offering SEO services to clients, you can get results for them. And then this is Alana from the Academy who, got 7 inquiries in 2 weeks from Google search. And I know that she's now a fully booked out website designer. So I know from first-hand experience, my business is getting more business than ever from SEO. And these are very recent examples. That was December. This was around that time as well. People that are earning a lot of money from SEO. So it definitely isn't dead. Now, updates do happen. When you hear horror stories of, people losing their traffic, that is usually down to a Google update. Google actually rolled out 8 updates last year, and particularly this March update hit some websites. So yeah, sure, updates do happen and that can impact websites. But in November, I actually went to one of the biggest SEO conferences in the world. I spoke to some of the top SEOs in the world that are earning the most money. For example, James Dooley, I believe his business is worth 9 figures, and he all from doing SEO. And after speaking to these experts, they're more excited than ever. And the reason being is when there's change, it brings opportunity, as I already mentioned. When people drop off because SEO is dead, that leaves more room for those people that persevere, evolve, and learn from what's working. Sure, people who relied just on Google search to blogs to the website probably will struggle, because as you've already seen, why would someone click on your blog post if they can just get the answer from an AI summary at the top of Google? So there are some tactics that aren't as effective as ever, but there are some tactics that aren't as effective as they were. But that's only the same with any marketing strategy. if you remember when Reels on Instagram sort of became really popular, visibility on image posts went down loads because Instagram was pushing shorts. Now, some people maybe got mad. Some people didn't want to do shorts and they wanted to carry on doing their images because that's how they've been successful. But the people that then did shorts and then did move to that more effective strategy, they probably made more money than ever. So the what I'm trying to say is just because something changes does not mean it's dead. Change is inevitable. Change happens on every other platform with every other marketing strategy. But for some reason, when it happens to Google and when it happens to SEO, people say it's dead. It happens every single year. Meanwhile, the top SEOs in the world are making more money than ever. So yeah, SEO definitely is not dead. And now we're going to move into 5 ways that you can use AI in order to improve your SEO efforts and get more results. So yeah, if you've got any questions, as I've said, and please add it in the Q&A. I can see a couple of questions in the chat. But I really, yeah, it makes it, a lot easier for me if you just post your questions in the Q&A. I can see that we've had quite a few more people join as well. This webinar will be recorded. So if you want to watch a replay, if you want to go through, go through anything, then feel free to watch the recording and it'll be available on SEO Spaces YouTube channel. So, guys, as I mentioned, if you've got any questions, the tab on the right-hand side is a Q&A. Any questions about SEO, any questions about AI, please just add it in there and I'll make sure I get to it at the end. So 5 ways to use AI for SEO. Now, one of the biggest ways that I use AI for SEO is I use it as an SEO consultant. And I'm going to show you a live demo. So one really cool thing, now you do have to use, I'm using ChatGPT 4o here, which is paid. So I think you do need a paid ChatGPT account. But one thing you can do, you can tell ChatGPT, you are an expert SEO consultant that understands how to outrank anybody on Google. What you can do then, as long as you've got web browsing enabled, so this allows ChatGPT to actually go to this web page, and you can say, please tell me how to rank this web page higher on Google. So you can actually tell ChatGPT that you're an SEO expert and you can ask it how to improve a web page. After that, you can see it's giving us some ways to improve it. After that, you can ask follow-up questions. So interesting, it actually says you utilize SEO Spaces SEO plugin. But you can see here that you can actually use ChatGPT to be your SEO expert. And you can do that with any topic as well. You can essentially say, if you say to it, you are an expert in this topic, please help me do this. And it's essentially going to, give you probably information that you would have to pay, a consultant to pay to give you. So that's why I really like it. I like it so much that I've actually baked it into SEO Space. So one feature that we've released is when you go to our extension and you go to AI recommendations, we've actually added like the capability for it to be an SEO consultant. So I was doing this so much. I was saying to ChatGPT, hey, you're an SEO expert. Help me identify things that only an SEO consultant would tell me. Because, with SEO, of course, you've got the things that a checklist can identify, but the power of an SEO consultant is they tell you to do the things that you can only do if you've got experience and you do competitor analysis, etc. So one thing that we actually added into this is we essentially added this exact thing. We connected it to AI, and we gave it the ability to provide AI recommendations. Now, this isn't perfect. It's a feature that we're working on. However, by the end of this quarter, we're going to make a really big change to this where you're going to be able to chat to it. You're going to get it. It's going to be able to write copy, because I know a lot of website designers hate writing copy. So you're going to have the ability to write website copy from this, get your personalized AI recommendation, as you can see here, but then also do much more. You'll also be able to speak to it, get it to write website copy. So yeah, as I mentioned, the first way that you can use AI is use it as a consultant, not just in SEO, but also in any topic. And SEO space already has the SEO consultant built in. So yeah, the next bit is content creation. One thing that one of a really, really powerful way in order to get blog post ideas is if you take all the keywords that your competitors rank for, you can actually group them into suggested blog posts. So this is a feature that I also really like on SEO space, where we use AI in order to generate blog post ideas. So if you haven't used this yet, I really recommend you head over to it. You add a description of your business. You add 3 competitors. And what we do, we get all the keywords that they rank for, all the keywords that you rank for. We then find only the keywords that you don't rank for, put those through AI, and then generate blog post suggestions. So this is a really helpful way. Now, you don't have to do this. You can do manual analysis if you want to. But once you've got those blog post ideas and you know what you want to create, you can then use AI in order to write the blog post for you. Now, I will share the slides with you after, because this is a prompt that I actually use for content creation. Now, as I've mentioned, let's see if I can zoom in on this actually so you can see it a little bit more detail. As I said, I will be sharing the slides after so you can copy this, but this is the exact prompt that I use when writing content. And the reason why it's so powerful is I don't get AI in order to write the blog straight away. I think what a lot of people do wrong is they'll put a prompt into ChatGPT, they'll put a prompt in these tools, and they'll say, write me a blog post. And that's when AI begins to hallucinate. It begins to write information that isn't true. What I do, I use this. And as I said, I'll share the slides so you can copy this for yourself. I'll use this, and you'll see here, I actually get it to write the article brief. And the reason why I get it to write the article brief is I have a 2-step approach. I give AI this prompt, I ask it to write the brief. I'll then change that brief and then give it back to ChatGPT and tell it to write the article. And the reason why I do that is you then have that quality control step in between, giving it the prompt and writing the article. By getting it to give you the brief, you can understand the structure of the article a lot more, and you can ultimately give it that unique information. So when you see the brief, you can, if you remember from before, Google wants to see experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So the benefit of this prompt is you pull it in, you get the brief, and at the brief stage, that's when you can give, your unique experience, your unique input into the article. And I found that to be much more effective. It reduces the hallucinations. Yeah. And as I said, I'll share that. I'll share the slides with you so you can copy that. And this is actually an example as well, that you can go and you can see I did this for SEO space as well. The third way that you can use AI for your SEO efforts is to refresh content. And this is a chart that I always like to refer to. It's from First Page Sage, which is a big SEO agency in America. And it's a study which identifies the most important ranking factors on Google search. So these are the most important things when it comes to ranking your website high up on Google. And you can see the most important thing is consistently publishing engaging content. We've just touched upon how you can use AI for content creation. So AI is going to enable you to write high quality blog posts faster and maybe higher quality than you could have before. The next is keyword placement. then backlinks, niche expertise, user engagement, and then freshness. So you can actually use AI in order to tick off 2 of the 6 most important things when it comes to SEO, by writing new content or updating content. And I'm going to show you a real life example. This is a client of mine, called High Five. They're a sports and nutrition company in the UK. And I literally asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, please write me a summary of this article to go at the top. And as you can see, it was an article about why your legs get heavy when you're running. Um, I asked ChatGPT in order to write a summary for me, a bullet point summary. And you can see this is the point at which I added that summary to the article. And you can see the article immediately took off, literally, the day after. And that change took 10 minutes. And the reason why is the article was out of date, and you typically want to provide value high up in an article. So by adding a summary, by refreshing your content, by adding a summary at the top and updating your article using AI, you show to Google that you're updating the content, you're keeping it fresh, and you're also making it really easy for users to find the information that they're actually after. So yeah, this was a real life case study. All you need to do is take your article. You can either say to ChatGPT to rewrite it, to refresh it, to add new statistics in there, or you can just do what I did in 10 minutes and add a summary at the top of the article. And as you can see, this works, and you can see that it was getting thousands of clicks as well, all through something that just takes 10 minutes, reworking something on your website that probably wasn't getting found anyway. The fourth way is market research. And this is really something that I'm living at the moment. And it's using a tool called Gemini. It's using Gemini, but it's using Pro with deep research. So what you'll often see with these LLM tools like Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, they have different versions. And those different versions, as you can see, are better for different things. And what's incredible with this deep research tool is it actually, Google have aimed for it to replace like consultants at McKinsey, Bain, BCG, these huge consultancies that get paid hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars to create a report. So let's just say you want to open a new business. You want to open a bakery. You want to open a bakery in the state of New York, and you want to know the best places to potentially open it. So I want to open a bakery in the state of This is just an example, by the way, guys. You can get it to research anything. Please find the best places to open and create a marketing strategy in order to grow my business. And what's crazy about deep research, and you can use this to research anything. If you want to, you're thinking of launching a new product, you're thinking of writing a really in-depth blog post. What this does, it puts together a research plan. You can see here, this is the step-by-step process that it's going to follow. It's going to find the best places to open a bakery based on factors like population density, average income, and competition. It's going to find the demographics of the areas based on, looking at age, income, cultural background, all these steps. So it maps out the steps that it's going to take in order to do this thing. And then when you press start research, this blew my mind when I saw it. This is $20 a month. It's then going to research tens, sometimes even hundreds of different web pages in order to get the information needed for that report, which just completely blew my mind. Because let's be honest, when you guys are researching something, when you're researching a topic to write a blog post, when you're doing research in order to come up with a new marketing strategy or a new product that you're going to launch, do you ever look at more than 18, 42, 58 different sources? Like, I definitely don't look at more than 58. And as you can see here, it's going through like official government websites, ny.gov, files like economics and policy insights. Um, it's absolutely insane, and it can take up to 5 minutes. So if this finishes in the time that the webinar that we've got left, I will show it to you. But yeah, it's a complete game changer. I've been using it, and these reports before would have cost you thousands of dollars, but now just cost you $20 a month. Finally, the last way that I'm using AI in SEO is to generate copy. As I mentioned in SEO space, we are going to be adding the ability to generate website copy, potentially even blog posts from within the AI recommendations. But a really neat feature that we added very recently is if you have, let me see if we can get this page. So if you have SEO descriptions or SEO titles that aren't optimized, so if I just open this back up, if you scan your web pages and you've got SEO titles, SEO descriptions that aren't optimized, what you can actually do is you can select the tone. So you can select click-worthy and then click generate, and it's going to generate a SEO title and a SEO, either an SEO title or an SEO description for this web page. I believe we also do it for headings as well. Yeah, so we do it for headings, so you can generate H1s, SEO titles, SEO descriptions, and as I mentioned, you're also going to be able to generate more copy from within AI recommendations. So the benefit of that, this is a site that we're building at the moment. We're launching loads of pages. It just makes it a little bit easier to focus on the things that really matter when it comes to SEO, such as keyword research. And then when it comes to creating the page, it speeds up that page creation process. So for example, here, again, we need to improve the H1. In fact, we need to remove a H1 from this page. But yeah, that's the final way. Now, just to give you a little bit of a bonus before you go and we go into the Q&A, the last thing that I recommend every single person does after this webinar is if you get this extension, custom new tab URL, what it does when you open a new tab, you see when I open a new tab, the first thing that shows is ChatGPT. This means I'm forcing myself in order to use these new tools. Instead of going straight to Google, I'm forcing myself in order to get the productivity gains from AI by using this Chrome extension, this custom new tab URL, to open whatever AI tool that I want to use. So whether I want to use Gemini more, whether I want to use ChatGPT, by using that custom new tab, it forces you to use these tools. It forces you to stay up to date. Because if you're like me and you've ever felt like you're not up to date with how these tools are advancing, one way to stay up to date is make sure you're using it every day. And hopefully that's a little bit of a bonus in order to help you guys. Now, of course, if you do want to learn more about this sort of stuff, this is what we talk about in the SEO Space Academy every live call, it seems. The SEO Space Academy is our Squarespace SEO course. If you want to learn more, you can head to our website. But we're just going to get into the live Q&A now, guys. So I think there's quite a few questions that have gone in the Q&A tab. So I'm going to get to those now. So if you've got any questions left, feel free to drop them in there and I will get through to them. As I mentioned, this is recorded. You can use the same link in order to access the recording. I'll also share the slides in the chat. So after the webinar is over, so it's at the bottom, so you guys can get that prompt that I shared. Right. So a really good question from Michael. What is your thoughts on using custom GPTs? So I'm going to show you what Michael means. So essentially, for those of you that don't know, in ChatGPT, you can actually either explore custom GPTs. So these are custom GPTs that people have mentioned. So essentially trained, you can see Canva's got one, like trained models to do a specific thing. So, for example, this is a trained GPT. This is a trained version of ChatGPT that is good at creating images. This is a Canva one that will be good at creating logos and social media posts potentially. This is a logo creator. There's tons of different ones out there. And one thing that you can actually do is you can create your own GPT on the paid plan. So you can go here, you can create a custom GPT, and you can actually configure it with specific instructions, specific knowledge. You can give it certain capabilities. And what this means is you can actually customize it for your specific tone of voice, your specific information, your specific instructions. So whenever you use that GPT, it already knows the things that you want it to do. And essentially, what Michael's asking is he's asking, what's your thoughts on using custom GPTs, thoughts on best practices? Now, I am a massive fan of custom GPTs. And in fact, if you ever go to through SEO Space's support, the first response you're going to get is from an AI bot that has been trained on about 100 documents on Squarespace, different Squarespace SEO tips, different ways to use SEO Space. And actually, it solves about 60% of our customer support tickets right now. So while obviously some people don't like speaking to an AI chatbot, 60% of our support tickets right now are solved using a custom GPT. So they are extremely powerful, and they can be extremely powerful for creating SEO content. One recommendation that I would have on best practice is making sure it looks like Michael might already be doing this. But if you've got clients that you're providing SEO services to, create a specific GPT for each client. So, Michael, you've probably found there's different rules, regulations, tone of voice, things that each client, things that are important to each client. So the only best practice that I can give you on this topic is make sure that you tune each GPT specifically to each client in order to get the best results for that client. Just because you want to make sure that each article is following the same tone of voice. If a client gives you feedback on one article, you want to make sure that the next article covers all of those points. And we use that is the only circumstance right now that we use custom GPTs in. We've got quite a big client that gives us a lot of feedback, and we make sure that whenever they give us feedback, whether it's on a Google Doc, whether it's email, we feed it into that GPT in order to continually train it. Michael said, when writing a summary, do you need to repost with a new date? I just change the date. So all I'll do, Michael, I'll add the summary at the top of the article. I'll change the date, and then I'll request indexing from Google Search Console. So yeah, I don't think you don't need to repost. You can just change the date on the existing blog post. How will the AI LLMs as external platforms be tracked? How will SEOers see visitors' search words intent as currently shown in Google Search Console, SEMrush, and SEO Space? That is a really good question, Lee. Um, Most people don't know yet. I am working on a couple of things, but essentially how Ahrefs, SEMrush, SEO Space, we get our data from a third party provider, which is why we have to limit the amount of keyword searches that you do. Where the data comes from, so let's take Ahrefs. They get ranking data because they're crawling the internet millions, tens, maybe even hundreds of million times a day. And when they do this, they build up a real life picture, as real life as you can get, of what the current state of search engine results pages are. So in this new world, there's going to have to be new tools that are crawling these AI LLMs millions of times a day in order to build up a real life picture of what's showing up in search results. The difficulty is, unlike Google is currently free to use, ChatGPT isn't free to use it that many times. So in order to do it millions of times in order to build up that picture, it's going to cost a lot of money. And yeah, so there isn't actually a way right now. There are ways that you can track in Google Analytics whether someone comes from ChatGPT, but there's no actual way right now in order to know how people are searching and the visibility in these LLMs. That is something that I'm working on right now. I can't share too much on that at the moment. But yeah, that's going to be a really big opportunity because no one really knows right now. So really good question, Lee. And Barbara actually made a really good point in the chat that Google is actually blocking SEMrush and other SEO tools from crawling SERPs. So yeah, Google has actually made a really big change in the past week. And I think it's because Google might charge tools in order to like crawl search engine results pages. That doesn't impact us because we don't have keyword tracking yet. We're working on it. But that's going to be a really interesting space in order to keep your eyes on. So, question from Wendy. I want to know how to resize photos so that they stay under 250 kilobytes, without having to resize them. So, I'll touch upon this now. So, for those of you that have, this is a challenge in SEO space and Squarespace as a whole. When you upload so I'm currently working, this is SEO Space's homepage. Share my screen. So when you've got an oversized image, so this is SEO Space's homepage, you can see there's images that we need to compress. This image right here is 250 kilobytes. Squarespace actually has a bug where if you download this image, it's not a bug, but if you download this image, add it to imagecompressor.com. It's actually a cool feature that not many people know of. If you click on an oversized image on this, when you've clicked on it, will actually open Image Compressor. It's a pretty cool feature. But if you download this image, compress it, re-upload it to Squarespace, Squarespace actually increases the size above the size that you compressed it to. This is because if you upload an already compressed image to Squarespace, Squarespace has its own image compression algorithm that can sometimes undo the compression that you've done. And that is the reason that we had this image resolution feature. So if you don't want to, because you don't want to impact the quality, or you can't reduce an image below 250 kilobytes, you can click on those images, press resolve, and SEO Space will actually ignore it from the recommendations. So yeah, you don't have to compress them. So that's a feature that we've added. So if you really can't, you can do this. However, we are actually working on the feature. Squarespace recommends your images to be below 500 kilobytes, which I disagree with. I recommend 500 kilobytes. Most SEO experts actually recommend below 100 kilobytes. But this isn't really possible on Squarespace because of how they host their images. But we are working on a feature where you can change your preference. You can either select for your images for the recommendation to be below 250, or if you want to go for Squarespace's recommendation, you can go for 500 kilobytes. So yeah, that's a little bit of a crash course on how to deal with that. Question from Barbara. I've heard that optimizing for a brand search company name as opposed to optimizing for keywords will be the way to go. Does this make sense or is it true? So what Barbara is saying is, Barbara, what is working in this new age? It's increasing your brand search. So brand search is when someone searches for you. So for example, right now, there's about 12 to 1,300 people a month that search for SEO space. When Google and when these tools see that people are searching directly for SEO space, it treats SEO space as a brand, as an entity, and therefore it's more likely to trust SEO space. So something that people are seeing, I don't think anyone really knows, but I'm definitely seeing that websites and businesses that are searched for, i.e. they're reputable in the industry, they do other marketing efforts like social media, podcasts, webinars, i.e., they do marketing and therefore people search for their business because they're known as an authority. That helps your visibility in Google for sure, and also these AI search results. So for sure, Barbara, just do marketing, get your business name out there, get people searching for your business, and that will in turn boost your visibility. A question from Angela. So yeah, that is about images. I think that hopefully I've just answered that. As I said, it is a problem on Squarespace. You can resolve the images on SEO space, so it'll actually ignore them. And we are also working on a feature where you can increase the limits if you're still facing issues with getting your images below 250 kilobytes. A question from C. How does the SEO consultant method that you discussed compare to the competitor analysis in the SEO space extension for keywords? So I think what you're referring to, I'll just get it up. So sorry if I've got it wrong, C, but those are really two different two different things. So the SEO consultant in SEO space, that provides personalized recommendations that are based upon the content. These aren't things that are necessarily included in your score. These are other things that you can't really put a score to. They're not, you either do them or you don't. They're subjective. We're trying to create that consultant that gives you, social signals. Have you got social media links on the website? Are you using schema markup? How's the user experience on the web page? What we're trying to do with this is really put an SEO consultant on your shoulder to point out the things that you can't have on a checklist. So that's what this is. What our competitor analysis is for, this is purely for keywords, really. So you can put any competitor into our competitor analysis tool, and you can see the keywords that that competitor ranks for on Google. So you can see I've put SEO space, and this is showing me all the keywords that SEO space ranks for on Google. So they're really two different tools. This is great for keywords. It's great for spying on your competitors to see what they rank for to help build your strategy. And then our AI recommendations tool is really like doing those extra things on a particular web page in order to rank higher, beat the competition, provide a better, user experience, etc. So hopefully that's answered your question. Are you taking investments in your company? No. I've built SEO space from the ground up and taken zero investment. So no, I'm not taking any investment. Thank you for saying that you really love the product as well, Wendy. We've got a lot to improve. So we've got some amazing features rolling out very, very soon. We're also going to be updating our whole algorithm in order to reflect Google's recent updates that they've released. So we aim to release a new update at SEO space every 2 weeks. So we're not going to stop improving. So there's plenty more to come. A few blog posts can't be indexed. I've got a guide on that. Let me drop it in the chat. So if you've got any pages that aren't showing up on Google, I've just dropped a really helpful guide on the chat in order to help with that. What prompts and information would you use for creating an SEO custom GPT? So it's not like what I recommend, Sophie. I'll get it back up. So if you're creating a custom GPT, what I recommend, and this is what I was saying to Michael, depending upon the task. So for example, let's say you're using the GPT in order to write content for a specific client. In here, you can see here, what does this GPT do? This GPT writes website copy for this website. You can list more about the website, you can list more about the business. So what I would do is do your best to give it as much information about the specific task that you want it to do. The step that I then recommend that you do beyond that is I then recommend that you create a brand tone document. So you can either upload that as a PDF here, or you can add information. And a brand tone document is basically just a document that outlines the target customer, how the brand speaks, and the sort of things that it should say to those target customers. So, of course, you can say things like in here that you're you're an SEO expert, you understand SEO best practices. But really, what I try and recommend is you customize the information that you give to it based upon the specific task that you want it to do. So, for example, our GPT, our support GPT, we've given it all the possible information and context that it could need in order to provide support to SEO space users. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. It can take a lot of work, but yeah, yeah, no problem. See, as you guys know, if you're new to if you've been to SEO Spaces webinars before, I love doing these. I love helping you guys. So make sure you stay tuned for future webinars that you have coming up. We also have, if you go to SEO Spaces website, so if you go to resources and then free live webinars, these are all the webinars that I've done in the past, loads of different topics. This one that we're recording right now will go on SEO Spaces YouTube channel. I'll add the YouTube channel in the chat. We're really trying to build that up. But I love doing these webinars, guys. You know, I really appreciate everyone that has turned up and for joining. I've added SEO Spaces YouTube channel in the chat. Please subscribe to that. We're adding all of our content there. So that would be really helpful. Question for Wendy. You recommend 250 kilobytes or lower. So for image size on Squarespace, I recommend 250 kilobytes. SEO experts on other platforms recommend 100 kilobytes, but it just isn't possible to get to 100 kilobytes on Squarespace in most cases. 250 is sort of a really good balance in between. You know, it's not super easy in order to get it below that, but it's still low enough that it does what you can in order to improve your page's loading speed. So yeah. Marlo asked, I've never heard of custom GPTs. What use cases would there be to create one other than a customer support chat? So the best case is creating one for your specific business. So you train that custom GPT on all the information that it needs to know about your business, your brand tone, your target customers. You can feed it copy from your emails, copy from your website. The use cases for a custom GPT is when you want to create a GPT that's so specific to a certain task. So you almost give it guardrails so that it always stays in between that, because when you use ChatGPT and these AI tools over time, they tend to hallucinate, they tend to make mistakes, and a custom GPT, giving it guardrails can help keep it on track and ultimately sort of help it be specific to a business or a use case that you're working with. Perfect. Well, thanks a lot for everyone for joining. As I mentioned, you know, I found this really helpful. Feel free to, I will be adding the resources in the chat afterwards. I'll also send out an email as well, so you can access that prompt. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you in next month's webinar.